Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Only this one is an update on this little potato right here. As some of you guys know, that I just sort of went MIA for about 2 weeks. Actually 2 weeks to the day today. It was actually because he needed surgery. So this video is basically everything that happened. Can we not eat the diary? That'd be great, thank you. So yeah, I thought I would do a little video explaining what happened, because it wasn't just routine surgery. It was supposed to be, but it didn't end up that way. I was actually going to do like a whole vlog going down to Brisbane and coming back, and that he had surgery and he was amazing and recovered, but that never really happened for us. Instead we got a buttload of stress, but I have my Bulldog at the end of it, so it's all worth it. So I thought I would start and tell you the story. So about 3 weeks ago now, can we not lick the couch please? Thank you, honey. So yeah, about 3 weeks ago now, we were all sleeping in bed, and at like it wasn't that early, about 5 o'clock in the morning, we got woken up to Alex basically sitting in the middle of the bed, and his mouth was all frothy and he was like really just short breathing. He was just taking really short breaths. Weren't you, buddy? Thank you, buddy. So we started to just think he was a little bit cold, so we brought him out here to the lounge room, put the heater on, and basically spent the rest of the morning out here just watching him. He slowly deteriorated between us getting up and then leaving. What are they doing back there? Leaving at 7 o'clock in the morning to head to our vets. During that time that we were on our way to the vets, he actually started to turn blue. So all of his gums and his tongue and everything, he was turning blue. He was just not getting enough oxygen in for whatever reason, we didn't know. So when we got to the vets, thank God we went to the good one who knew everything about bulldogs. He basically did this maneuver where he reached his hand down the back of his throat, pulled his tongue forward, and all of this slime came out. It was crazy. And then he could basically breathe again. He got his colour back and we were able to take him home. But the information that we got was that he needed that surgery that most bulldogs get, where they get their nostrils opened up and then their soft palate. Hello. Thank you. And then his soft palate trimmed up. So we're like, all right then. We had other plans for that money, like dresses and tattoos. But he comes first. So that day we booked the vets, and the soonest they could get us in was Monday 2 weeks ago from today. So it was basically keep him calm, don't let him get his breath up or anything like that. He just has to be a slug basically, which was fine. So we just separated them. So fast forward to surgery day. Monday morning I woke up, jumped in our hire car and put him in a cage, and we headed down. He did really well on the trip. Like, we didn't have to stop that much because he was struggling. We just stopped because like he had to pee. Stop eating your foot. Because he had to pee or to have a drink or something like that. So then we got down to the surgery, which was North Coast veterinarian specialist down on the Sunshine Coast. I cannot recommend these guys enough for everything they did for him. We actually went and seen our vet today for a checkup for him to see how his stitches and everything are going, and we got told if he would have gone to any other vet that didn't have literally 24-hour care, where someone was there sitting beside his cage all night, I wouldn't be doing this video. So no, cannot recommend these guys enough. They are phenomenal. A few hiccups, but phenomenal vets, my God. So we made it down on Monday at, I think, like 9:30, 10 o'clock. We arrived at the vets. We had our initial consult, told them everything. They checked him over. They said as long as his x-rays come back clear, we'll pop him in for surgery. Apples. I was stressing a little bit because my boy was going in for surgery, but I thought I would be one of those cases where it's like, they're telling me all the bad news, but he's going to come out fine and we're going to go home tomorrow and he's going to be amazing for the rest of his life. How naive I was. So without even thinking, he struggled, like the vet struggled trying to get him out of the room to get him away from me. So I actually, instead of hugging him and saying, I hope he has a good surgery and everything like that, I was pushing his bum out the door because he was refusing to go through it. So I didn't even really get to say goodbye to him. But they ended up doing the surgery that day, pretty much. I think he was done and dusted by like 2 o'clock. He was done with surgery. I get the phone call saying he is perfect. He is resting, coming through anesthetic fine. No complications. The only thing that they did say was his soft palate was a little bit longer and thicker than what they're used to seeing, so they took a little bit more, for whatever that means. But yeah, I'm like, okay, cool, thanks, good job. So I ended up sleeping really well that night, like really well. I knew that he had gone through his surgery. Sorry, I've just got all my notes up on the computer because my memory is so shocking because of everything just happened so fast and I was under stress and everything like that that I didn't really remember anything. So I just took a lot of notes. So if I needed to do a video, I could. So part 2. I got told that if anything was going wrong, somebody would call me through the night and let me know what's happened, and basically assume that no news is good news. Well, I didn't get a call that night, so I was over the moon. I woke up, I'm like, yes, we've had a good night. I'm going to pick up my puppy and we are going to go home and just live out life. No. 9 o'clock that morning, I get a phone call from the vets and they thought that somebody had rung me that night and told me that he had crashed. No, they didn't. So basically, what was it? His oxygen levels, they said that they like their oxygen levels to be between 100 and like at the lowest 95%. That's like their safe range. Anything lower than 95 and it's like alarm bells. So his dropped down to 86 that night that they were supposed to call me. And then basically by 9 o'clock on the 14th, which was the Tuesday, they got him back and he was fine again, and his blood oxygen levels were back up to like 96%. I'm like, okay, cool. Why didn't anybody call me? Because that just added to my stress and everything. But I don't even care about that now. At the time I did. Can we not lick the carpet? That'd be amazing. Layla, spit it out. What do you got in there? Did you swallow it? You have a hair in your nose. With his oxygen levels at 96 that morning, they said that they would just like to keep him in another night because they just want to have one night of him, no complications. I'm like, yep, I do not want that responsibility, so you guys do what you have to do. And I'll just keep stressing, but just keep me informed, basically. They said, yeah, no worries. So then yeah, during that phone call in the morning, they told me that possibly he had gotten inhaled some blood into his lungs during the operation, or sometime he inhaled blood. So I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? He's like, if it's blood, it's okay. It'll basically just get absorbed into the body and he'll be fine. But they also said it could be some sort of like dog pneumonia. I'm like, okay, so what's... Don't! Whoop. So I've basically gone, what's dog pneumonia? And it's basically like human pneumonia. A lot of fluid in the lungs, and because he's had the surgery, can we not? And his airways and everything are all swollen. It's a really, really bad thing, and he might not recover from it. So I was a big stress ball. But they were going to do some x-rays and everything pretty much in the afternoon to let me know if it was blood or pneumonia. So skip forward to, what is it, that Tuesday afternoon still? I get told that the x-rays have come back. Nope. 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 Just be good. Shh. No, calm. So skip forward to the afternoon, Alex. Enough. So skip forward to the afternoon, they've done his x-rays, and then that's when they found out that it was actually dog pneumonia and it was something that he might not recover from. So they basically wanted to keep an eye on him for the next 72 hours. So yeah, I was an absolute wreck. I didn't know what to do. Anyway, moving on. So still the Tuesday, I get a call from the vets again. This was probably like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, saying you better come in. Basically in the time that they told me that they did the x-rays and found out that it was dog pneumonia, and them calling me at 3 o'clock, which was probably a 3-hour space of time, he crashed, and he crashed bad. To the point where the vets have turned around and said, look, you need to come in. We're not sure if you're going to be taking him home or not. And then to top it off, the vet was like an hour away from where I was. So I'm like, I just have to get there. So here are some photos from that day when I basically had to say goodbye to my dog. There weren't too many. I basically wanted him to hear my voice and just tell him the plan again, because I think he forgot. But yeah, I spent about 45 minutes with him. And they said, look, if he needs to be ventilated, I'm tearing up, I'm sorry. They were saying that if he crashes again and goes further to the point where he can't breathe on his own, he's going to need ventilating. They were basically going to ring me and ask me when it needed to be done. So if he crashed at like midnight, they'd call me at midnight and ask me, and I'm like, look, is there anything I can do to give you permission now that if no one rings me, it's on the books, just to do it? Just ventilate my dog if he can't on his own. Signed a piece of paper and they turned around and said, sweet. So I basically crossed my fingers and toes and hoped I didn't get a phone call that night. So stressful. Yeah. So now we're on to the Wednesday, the 15th. So about 9 o'clock in the morning, I get a call. That means I didn't get a call through the night, so we had a good night and he didn't crash, and that means he didn't need ventilating. Best news ever. He even woke up so much so that he even got up and went to the toilet. Looked very bright, got all of his colour back, his oxygen levels were great. And if everything continues the way that they're going, he'll be home on the 16th. So basically I think all he really needed to hear was just me. I even FaceTimed Nathan while we were there and put him in the cage so he could hear like Nathan's voice, and I think that's exactly what Alex needed to pull through the night. He just needed to hear me. So on to the next update. I felt so good. See, aren't I glad I got notes? After I got that news at about 9 o'clock in the morning, that I could possibly be taking him home the next day, they asked if I wanted to go in and see, and I'm like, look, I want to, but because he's doing so well and he's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and basically thinks that he's not sick anymore, I don't want to come in and hype him up and have him see me go and then basically crash again thinking that I've left him. I said, so he's doing amazing. I won't come in today, but I'll come in tomorrow morning. So I spent that day with the fabulous Miss Billie Jean, exploring the city of Brisbane. We ended up going and seeing some dinosaurs, which was so cool, as well as some art and all sorts of things. I'll share with you guys some of the photos that I took there. It was really, really cool. I hadn't been to something like that for a long time. And driving in the city, I thought it was stressful with him. No, driving in the city is crazy. Y'all are nuts. So yeah, we had a great time. It really helped me not think about him. So that was awesome. It helped time fly, which was exactly what I needed. So after we went and did the museum and everything like that, found out that we were relatively close to the fabulous Miss Sherry Velvet, aka Laura. And I picked up all my clothes from there. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this. It really isn't anything to do with it, but I got some new clothes, so look out for that photo shoot, I guess. Plugging up. By the way, I still haven't heard from the vet. So again, assuming that no news is good news, thinking he's having a good time and recovering well. So then we move to the 16th. So day 4 is the Thursday. I get a call at about, I got a call at about 2:30 in the morning on the 16th, saying he crashed again. The pit of my stomach just, I felt my soul leave my body, I swear it. So it was basically that he couldn't breathe again and that his oxygen levels had dropped again. Not as bad as 86. I think they said that it got down to, what was it, like 91? So still low and still enough to worry. But the guilt I felt by not going to him on the Wednesday, instead I went and had fun. Who does that? So the guilt I felt from that was absolutely incredible. I'm like, I should have been with him rather than sightseeing. It still sucks now. If I could go back, I wouldn't have gone to the museum. Not that it affected anything. I just felt he was going through a shit time, so I should go through a shit time. But anyway. So, that was 2:30 in the morning that I got that call on Thursday. So I didn't get back to sleep after that. I was pretty much done. But then later on that day, I think it was at about lunchtime, we heard from the vets again saying that they feel comfortable enough for him to basically leave their care. I was petrified. I'm like, I don't need that responsibility. And considering I'm an hour away from the vets as it is, I can't deal with that. And they're like, but we think he's going to do so much better with you. He tends to crash when you're not here. I'm like, that's good. That means you guys get to deal with it. No, bad thing apparently. So I ended up finding a little motel that was like 2 minutes up the road. There were no turns or anything. It was just the vets were here, 2 minutes up the road. My hotel was here. It was perfect. What was the place called? I think it was the Fiesta Motel in Budrum. Gorgeous little spot, by the way. And the beds were comfy. So basically that night it was all on me. So I hardly slept. He was in and out of consciousness with the sedations and everything that he was on. And they've basically gone, you need to start feeding him like eyeball size pieces of food, like wet food or mince or something. And these are the tablets that he needs to take. I'm like, okay. So that night we did really, really well. Besides the fact that he didn't eat, which like got me stressing so bad, because that means he didn't have his sedation tablets, he didn't have his reflux tablets, he didn't take his pneumonia tablets. I thought we were going to go backwards again. But no, we had a successful night. I even got some sleep, which was really good. He got a lot of sleep. He sort of slept in like 3-hour intervals, so perfect. Ended up getting up on Friday packed the car up, whacked him in, and then we had one more appointment with the vets before we head home, just to make sure that he could do the 5-hour trip home. And then I had to tell them that he didn't take his tablets either, so they had to do the finger down the throat thing, and I'm like, are you serious? There's stitches down there. And they said he's got to take them, so if he won't take them with food, you've got to do it this way, just don't go down too far. And I'm like, that's never gonna happen. I'm never gonna put my fingers down there when there's stitches. So thankfully, he was really, really good with his tablets. A little bit of honey and they just straight down the hatch. So yeah, on the way home, I don't know how it happened. I must have done that trip at least 4 times a year. But from Budrum to Gympie was fine. It looked normal. But then I got to Gympie and I seen a part of Gympie that I had never seen before. I'm like, what's going on? Turns out my GPS got me hella lost. Like, so lost at the most inappropriate time that it could ever mean for me just to get home. No, it wants me to take the freaking scenic route. There's like the road that I always take, and then like you've got like the inland highway, and then there's this like dirt road in the friggin' middle that goes that's the road I took with him. So instead of like a 5-hour trip, I ended up getting home at like 5 o'clock that afternoon. I think it was like a 7-hour drive for the pair of us. It was crazy, but he was a trooper. We stopped for toilet breaks, stopped for food, he even slept. But yeah, it was a really good drive home. I was so stressed. But by the time I ended up finding out I was on a dirt road, I messaged Nathan going, I am so lost, can you help me? I did that sharing live location on my phone thing. So glad I did. He ended up getting me unlost, but I was so tired and so stressed, and I was fading fast. I'd hardly slept like all week. So he ended up getting in the car and driving halfway to come and get me just so I could basically follow him home. I'm so glad he did that. Gave me the pep to go the next step. But yeah, we made it home, and then basically it was up to him and healing. So they sent us home with some antibiotics and medications and stuff. So the only other vet appointment that he had to do, he had his vet appointment today basically just to check his stitches in his nose and in his throat, to make sure that everything was healing fine, to see if he could go on to hard food. But unfortunately no one could tell me. They are going to ring these guys and basically get the next stage of his healing plan together, and then bring me tomorrow and let me know so that I can execute it, per se. That's you guys all caught up now. That's why I was MIA for 2 weeks. I was being a dog mom. But as you can see, he is doing fantastic. Actually, it was even funnier. The vet today turned around and said, oh, sometimes if their breathing hasn't improved enough with the first surgery, they can get revision surgery so they can take a little bit more and all the rest of it. And I'm like, I'm gonna stop you right there. He's never going for surgery again. He is done. His breathing's fine. He's not going for surgery. No ma'am. So I thought that was funny. I can't thank you all enough for everything. All the wishes and all the loves and all the prayers, and I think it helped. So hopefully now we get to live out the rest of our lives with our little baby bulldogs and life can be normal.
Do you want to say thank you for all the love and all the get well messages? Because now you're all get well. You're a good boy. Hey. Good boy. Heart of a lion. Yeah.